Welcome to Wargaming Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, where we're getting into Malifaux, and we have more people who like Malifaux. So, fairly large group of people. For everybody that's viewing, we're going to talk about, we're going to introduce everybody. We're going to talk about what masters we're getting into, what factions, and kind of a rough idea as to why. Nothing too super in-depth, but just kind of a general idea. So, I'm Steve. I guess normally I'd be the producer, but this time I'll just be Steve.
Hey, Steve, you can still be the producer if you want.
You know what?
If it makes you feel important.
I mean, I guess technically you are producing this.
I am producing this. And what we'll do is we'll just introduce ourselves first, and then we'll go from there. And I'll kind of cue us. But who are you?
I'm Bryce. I have played a total of 3 games of Malifaux with 3 different crews because I actually just recently picked up the Sonya Creed box, put it together. I got the half of the 2-player starter kit from you.
Yep.
So I got all the crazy doctors, which are totally awesome. I haven't played them yet, but they're tons of fun. They look really cool. That's what I got.
Performing his role as the pusher.
I am. Yeah. Man, it's not. I've done this a lot, like where there will be a game and I'm like, this is the coolest game ever. By the way, here's models you're playing.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. It's like, here, have this box and half of the starter kit. It's like,
I remember a day.
Well, that makes
I remember a day in Connection being shoved into the corner towards the Kador boxes and being told to buy the battle box.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
I did the same thing with you and
you bought me my circle.
Yeah,
the battle group.
It came out.
Thank you for the shitty fucking warlock and 2 useless Arguses. You prick.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm Neil. You may have seen me in a War Machine Series episode.
Not yet.
Yeah, if it's released before this. I've been playing since the summer, although due to work, I went through about a 3 months where I couldn't actually play, so I played about a dozen, maybe 2 dozen games at this point. I play Arcanists, and I started with Ramos.
All right. And
I'm Logan. You guys have seen me before. I've played a total of 2 games of Malifaux, both with the Jacob Lynch crew. I've mostly borrowed models from Mike, and then I bought a couple side models of my own because they fit with the faction, and I'm interested in playing.
Fantastic.
Right on.
What about you? Who are you, and what is your experience?
My name is Mark. I've been actually a henchman with Weird since early in first edition, and I play all kinds of everything, and most recently getting into Outcast with Jackdaw and Hamelin.
Woo!
Yeah.
Excited about them.
Sweet.
You know, that Jackdaw crew box is probably my least favorite box out of every one that exists.
What?
I don't like the models. They're like weird and they're strapped to like tables and
they're
shit.
guilty. They're getting all tortured and shit.
But it's just, how the hell do they move?
They're on a journey.
Magic.
With magic.
Oh, fine. And who the hell are you?
I am someone who is not supposed to be here. That's a lie, actually. I'm Mike. I should have been pretty obvious on this channel before. You've probably seen me in the intro. I play Arcanists. I have some 10 Thunders, but I mostly play Arcanists. And I've played since 1.5, but we took a long time off.
Yeah.
Between the actual release of Mark II, which we were super excited about, and the time we started playing Mark II, which was like a 1.5 years later.
Yeah, that was pretty big hiatus. Well, I mean, I guess you guys all described your experience with the game a little bit better than me. So I started with Neverborn, and I've restarted in Mark II with Gremlins. But when I started originally, we were playing Mark I. I had played you probably
A couple times.
a few times, a good few times, and I started with Collodi and.
Steve also made me quit the game for a time because of Collodi.
Yeah, actually, there was one game specifically, I remember this, where I did the Collodi. Okay, so Collodi was a little bit busted in 1.0, where you could potentially move across the entire board
with your entire crew,
drop 9 Wicked Dolls on somebody on the first turn before they've activated, and kill their most important thing. Wow. So I did that to Mike, and he quit the game.
Yeah,
he was like,
that's usually a good
rage table flip, I'm not playing anymore.
Yes, that was a rage quit. Also, Steve is forgetting to mention his love affair with zombie hookers.
That's true. I did play, I have played a little bit of Rezzers, and again, the faction that probably makes Mike rage the most due to Seamus and his flintlock.
No, it's just Seamus, and it was just those couple of times. And I hate you. I'm leaving now.
But for me, the factions that are kind of like my own, like the ones that I really care about, are Neverborn and Gremlins. And right now, I'm really enjoying Gremlins. They're the ones that I'm kind of painting up myself, and I'm getting some help painting up the Neverborn because they're just better painters than me, and they do nice things. But yeah, so I will. The first master I started with was actually Lilith. I mean, that was. They kind of have the same problem as you do today as far as starting the game, where there's a lot of different crew boxes for a lot of different factions, and that's fine. But the problem is if you pick the wrong one, so to speak, you don't have the dependent models and you don't have enough points.
Steve is specifically referring to like 3 boxes of the dozens.
Well, so when I first started, I started Neverborn specifically because I wanted to play the Dreamer. I saw Lord Chompy Bits with his awesome 1.0 sculpt, and I'm like, okay, his name is Lord Chompy Bits, and he looks awesome, and there's a little kid with a knife. I'm in. And I that's what I picked up, and I looked over the rules, and I'm like, fuck, I can't play this box without this much other stuff, and it's really confusing. So I went with Lilith initially, which is a lot more linear play experience, comparatively speaking, at least for 1.0. Now, it's not so bad. But in 2nd edition, there's still a few crew boxes that are symptomatic of that, where like the Dreamer, you need a handful of other models to play reasonably. The Kirai box is probably the number one culprit because you get like 17 points worth of models in the box,
right?
And it's still it's a fantastic master, but like if you're a new player and that's your very first purchase,
any crew is going to need a backup of models that you want to be able to sub in from time to time, but some need more than others.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas I found with Gremlins in 2.0 specifically. All of the boxes are pretty good, like right out of the box. The Ophelia box is great because you get a whole bunch of like named characters, specific guys, based off of the Ortegas. Although better than the Ortegas, let's be real.
Clearly, yeah, that is a thing.
Yeah. And then, and the way I got into Gremlins, I should say, is specifically because of 3 models. There is Wong, Bert Jebsen, and Gracie. And for those of you who don't know, these were inspired by Big Trouble in Little China.
Yep.
And they do a pretty good job of representing those characters. So, well, I guess Gracie's a truck. So yeah, I guess still.
The truck is a pig.
Yeah,
the truck is a pig.
The truck became a pig the size of a truck.
Exactly.
So.
And playing those, I just really enjoyed playing them. And then now I've kind of fallen in love with Gremlins. And the thing that gets me the most is like people who've played from 1.0 a lot, not in all cases, but many of them look at Gremlins, 2.0 Gremlins, like they were they're not a non-faction now. Mm. And then they get surprised when you one-shot their like important models. You're like, what happened?
Gremlins.
Fuck you.
So, the Gremlins are surprisingly powerful, really explosive, and they can do lots of stuff. So I really, really enjoy them. I'd say like right now I'm still primarily playing Wong as like my number 1 go-to guy, and mostly because of his glowy upgrade, where you basically make one of your models a Super Saiyan, and they get like they ignore armor, hard to wound or hard to kill, one of the two. I think it's hard to wound, incorporeal, and they get regeneration 1, and they get +1 damage. So you take it on something like Raimi, and then across the field, 36 inches away, you're ion cannoning somebody for 9. And
this is why you need terrain on your table.
That's true. That's true. And the thing is, like, actually, I pulled this off. One of the first times I did this was actually against you, Mark, in at your place, where you brought out the mechanical rider, and I like blew him off the board almost. You had like 2 bucks left, and you just moved him back.
Yeah. I'm gonna hide where you want to do that.
You're like, what is it? You're like, he does how much damage? What? And then since then I've been, I guess a little cheesy, but I've been enjoying that. So we'll kick it over to Bryce. What master did you start with, and why? What faction, what master, and why?
I picked up Guild. So I was originally going to pick up the Perdita Ortega box.
Okay.
But then you were like, well, I have this stuff to give you. I was like, well, in that case, I don't need to invest. And if I don't like the game, then I won't buy the Perdita Ortega box. So I just went with the Sonya Creed box.
Nice.
I'm kind of glad I did, coming from War Machine, because the other box I had was the Lucius box, and I think that would have just confused the hell out of me.
Lucius is a little more complicated.
Lucius plays the scenario a lot, I've even read his cards, and I've played 3 games. I don't really understand how the scenario thing works out, but I do know how to kill dudes. And Sonya Creed is just like, oh, you're on fire? I ignore line of sight and cover to you with a 14-inch nuke. And just like kill things across the field. Everything lights things on fire, so it's like you kill the dude near you, all of your dudes are on fire. I ignore line of sight and cover to all of them. So it's really like I understand how to just kill dudes. That's something coming from Machine I think getting that into the game, learning how the combat works, without needing to play a crew that plays specifically the scenario is a good idea. So coming from Machine, I like Sonya Creed a lot.
Yeah, well, and I think that like in our last game, learning that gremlins are flammable is a problem.
Oh, you poisoned yourself and now I've lit you on fire and it never goes out, and when you die I summon a new Witchling Stalker. Hilarious.
The first game that I had with the only game I've played so far with the Brewmaster was against into Sonya Creed.
Wow.
And it was just awful.
He kept poisoning himself and then I'd light him on fire. It's like, well, that's 8 damage next turn. It's like, here's 1 from poison and like 8 from fire because I hit him with a bunch of things and it never goes out, so you take it again next turn. It's like, what?
I mean, alcohol is very flammable.
Yeah.
Well, and like your freaking drunken gremlins only have 6 boxes, so
So it'd be like POW 5, but you're on fire, so I do like +2 damage. So you're just dead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse me, your drunken gremlins.
My drunken gremlins.
Yes. No one else here is a dirty gremlin player.
Hey.
I got Gremlin themed 10 Thunder models.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Doesn't count.
And Nevermore themed Gremlin models.
Yeah, well, I was playing 10 Thunders last game.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, I was.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, Brewmaster, man.
You did not declare this is your faction.
Well, fair. But yeah, I gave you the Lucius box and...
The Sonya Creed box.
Was it the Sonya? I thought you had a different one.
Nope. You also gave me the half of the 2-player starter
That's
kit.
right, okay.
So I built the doctors and the doctor and the orderlies and the nurse, and they're super cool.
The 2-player starter set's amazing.
Yeah, turns out lobotomizing somebody is pretty deadly when it's like 4, 6, 10.
Yeah.
It's like, you've been lobotomized.
Why?
Yeah.
How about you, Neil?
Okay, well, like I said before, I started off with Arcanist. I was told on the forums, like, first thing you should do is get 2 masters, because the scenario is so heavily skewed. So in Reconnoiter, for example, Ramos is king, but if you bring him into Reckoning, you pretty much are on the back end of the game the entire time. So I started off with Ramos and Mei Fang, but Ramos is the one that I have by far the more experience in, because of course Reconnoiter, he just sits there and laughs because points all day.
Yeah.
I have 6 of the Arcanist Masters right now. Everybody except Marcus, because he's pretty much his own faction, and I don't want to put that much money into it.
The Ramos box, that's the one without Langston?
Exactly, yeah.
Freaking amazing models.
Yes.
You got like the little spider dudes. You get Howard Langston is probably one of the scariest looking models in the game. One of, I mean, there's a few, but and one question though: how was building the spiders?
Not terrible, actually.
Really?
Langston I had a bit of problem with because his hair decided to clip in half at one point, so he needed a bit of a gluing job.
Oh no.
But I'm actually really glad that I went with Ramos and Mei Fang, because it turns out Mei Fang really likes mobile things that drop ski markers when they die, so she can just rail walk all over the place, and Ramos really likes rail workers, because it turns out a 2/4/5 positive to attack and damage with a 0 action is really nice.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say about the Arcanist in general is fuck the rail golem.
I burned Steve pretty badly the other day.
Oh man, yeah. Just like I think before he got used any of his actual AP, he hit me 6 times. Something like that.
I think it was 4, but yeah.
Felt like 6.
You might say you got railed.
Yeah, I brought the railgun with Kyrus. Yeah, I brought the railgun with Kyrus. And of course, Kyrus sets everything on fire, and the railgun uses fire as pseudo AP with a 0. That as long as you flip a tome, you can do it again and again and again.
Yeah, it was a beating. And the game was actually pretty close. You ended up 1 point ahead of me, I think, in that one.
Yeah, I think that was a 9-8 victory.
I think it was 10-9 or 10-8, one of the two.
It was high up there.
Something like that. Yeah, it was. But the rail golem, like. Anyway, Logan, you're new, so I don't. You played a couple games, and you played both with Mr. Lynch.
Jacob Lynch was actually one of the only masters that really appealed to me, just in terms of aesthetic and lore. So that's really all I got to go on right now. But I like all of his abilities and all of his units' abilities. It feels really flavorful. Like he's a like hotel and casino owner that's both that's both a master with the cards and operator. Sorry,
it's owned by his slave master.
Owned by slave. But the fact that he runs a casino really shows up in his abilities, and since this is a deck based game, he has lots of manipulation tactics with both your cards and your opponent's cards.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's basically pushing drugs in the form of Elder God Brilliance, and he can use that against his opponents, and he's just really cool. I really like him, and also the fact that he's both Neverborn and Ten Thunders means I don't have to commit to any one faction right now.
That's true.
So I have a lot of selection, and I don't know. I really enjoy how he plays in the 2 games I've played, and I like his whole aesthetic.
Now, do you think you're going to be moving into Neverborn or moving into Ten Thunders initially?
I haven't decided yet. I really like both what he can do with both aspects. But I'm thinking more along the lines of Neverborn right now.
Yeah. If you want, I have some. They're older models, like 1.0 models, but I've got some stuff that you could just use.
Okay.
So we'll keep that in mind. But yeah, Jacob Lynch is really cool. I like his freaking in his crew box. You get the
Hungering Darkness.
No, Hungering Darkness is amazing melee monster, but not him. I was going to talk about the depleted.
Those are really
you don't get depleted in his box. They're kind of like a required purchase for his crew, I feel. But for 4 points, they're the tankiest objective running bastards ever. And then the Illuminated are also just ridiculous houses for what you get, for what you're paying anyway. But and Beckoners are awesome. But do you don't get Beckoners in that either.
Is Illuminated?
You get, what do you get? You get Lynch,
Hungering Darkness,
3 Illuminated.
That's it.
Really? I thought there was something else.
I don't think so.
His box really runs with the whole pushing brilliance on your opponents and then blowing them up with the brilliance. So. Yeah.
Fair. Mark, how about you?
I sort of went the opposite route. Instead of getting one master, I've got 3 masters when I started.
Really?
I couldn't pick between Nicodem because I've played Warhammer Fantasy Vampire Counts for probably 20 years before I started Malifaux. So I wanted to get the Necromancer Lord, so that was Nicodem. He had to go. I wanted to get Rasputina because I really liked the Ice Witch theme and all the ice constructs she had running around with her. And then the last thing that sold me on the game was Pandora and the little demon children that, the kid with the knife and the girl with the candle.
Okay, yeah.
Here you go.
And then since you started, you started Malifaux almost at its inception, so quite a while ago.
Yeah.
How many games of Warhammer Fantasy have you played since then?
Since then? I could probably count them on 2 hands, maybe a little more. But
okay. So it didn't drop completely, but...
Pretty much full stop. Yeah. Once in a while, but...
And how often are you getting in games these days?
Not that often.
No?
No. Families.
We got to make that happen.
I think so.
Yeah.
I've been jonesing. I feel like I'm going through withdrawal all the time.
For those of you that don't know, one other place you can find Mark is on the
Faux Show.
The Faux Show, which is a Malifaux
podcast we were kind of doing for a while. We're not really on right now because we haven't put it out in a while, but hopefully we'll get back to that soon.
Yeah. And he has more combined Malifaux knowledge than the rest of us, so that's probably an interesting show. I don't know, what the hell do you guys talk about?
Stuff.
All right.
I'm going to hazard a guess as to Malifaux.
Okay.
Stuff and things.
The Faux Show could be anything.
It could be about Vietnamese noodles.
It does not have PHO, but
possibly architecture.
That would be amazing. Anyway, Mike.
There actually is a Faux Show.
Is there really?
Yeah, there's a.
What the hell?
Architectural. I had to look it up, and it's the exact same word, but I'm like, I'm just gonna use this name and hope they don't care.
And Mike, what did you start with? What faction and why, and what are you playing right now?
I started with a clusterfuck.
Sounds like a good way to go.
The first models I picked up, the first boxes I picked up were the Misaki crew in Ten Thunders, the Lady J crew for Guild, and I think I got the Rasputina crew first, or I might have ordered the Colette crew first. I don't remember.
When you first started, the Misaki didn't exist, I don't think.
She had just come out.
Oh, really? Okay.
It was she was part of the first wave of plastic boxes for Malifaux. And essentially, I was lured into this game by Steve because he's a goddamn pusher. And so I wanted to play Colette, but I had heard that Colette was super hard to play. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go play something easier for a while. That's why I got Lady J, even though she's a different faction, because that was a terrible idea. And then I like ninjas, so whatever. The Ten Thunders is pretty cool. Mitaki's alright. I play mostly Arcanist now, although I still have my 10 Thunders models. And I started, like, I would say the first master I really started playing a lot of and learned was Rasputina.
Okay.
She's the only master that I'm even remotely half decent with right now. And I feel that's just because she's very easy. You just point her at things and explode them.
Yep.
Yeah. Next time on Wargamer Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, maybe the BlizzCon story, maybe not. Keep watching.